Now, all but 2 of the top 100 firms on the London Stock Exchange use tax havens, according to new research. These are household names like British Business BP, HSBC, Prudential and British American Tobacco. The charity Action Aid says ministers can no longer afford to turn a blind eye to the use of such arrangements, which are, of course, perfectly legal. Its report says that 98 of the FTSE 100 companies use tax havens, having a total of 8,492 offshore subsidiaries. The advertising company WPP alone has 611 tax haven companies, and the big 4 British banks have 1,649 offshore subsidiaries between them. In a moment, we'll be debating whether the government should act. But first, our business correspondent Sarah Smith reports from one of the closest of the world's tax havens, the Channel Island of Jersey.
It is perfectly legal to come to an offshore tax haven like Jersey and register your company here to minimise your tax bill. The British government won't even try to discourage you. But when British companies do this, it costs the UK billions in lost tax revenue. We've always known that Jersey's very low tax rates, 0% corporation tax, make it a very attractive place for companies to register. But until now, we had no idea just how many of Britain's biggest firms use tax havens. 98 out of the FTSE 100 companies admit that they have subsidiaries in tax havens like Jersey. Tax experts have told us they are shocked by this figure. The practice is far more widespread than they'd ever realised. They say that means they're going to have to revise up the estimates as to how much this costs the UK Treasury. Previous best guesses put the losses to the Exchequer at £18 billion a year. Now we know it could be much, much more.
British taxpayers lose probably tens of billions of revenue every year as a result of tax avoidance through these offshore structures. And the effect of this is that as companies increasingly use offshore tax havens, now our corporate economy is increasingly dominated by those companies, governments are switching the tax charge away from companies and onto households.
Thousands of British companies have registered offices in Jersey. At one single address in St Helier, at 22 Grenville Street over there, 27 FTSE 100 companies have subsidiaries listed. 3 of them use it as their registered company address. But there's no sign of any of their names outside. Let's see if we can find them inside. I went looking for someone from WPP, a big British advertising firm who register their company address here. Yet no one seemed to have heard of them. After 20 minutes, a lawyer appeared. At 22 Grenville Street, WPP are registered as having this as their company address, but there's nobody here that we can speak to from WPP. Experian? Do you have anybody from Experian here?
No.
Or Shire?
No.
No, because they're all FTSE 100 companies who use this as their registered address.
Yes. There are many, many companies in Jersey with registered addresses in Jersey. I hope that's helpful.
Yeah. Now, just because a company uses a registered address in Jersey does not mean that they're using it necessarily to try and avoid paying tax. But we can't find any trading or business activity going on here from any of the companies that are listed here. WPP in London told us some of their overseas subsidiaries are involved in the tax planning process, but they say it's a tiny minority. Sarah Smith from Channel 4 News here. RBS, majority owned by you, the British taxpayer, has 30 subsidiary companies in Jersey alone, 238 in tax havens worldwide. Why do you need 30 separate subsidiary companies all registered in Jersey? They told me they do substantial business in the Channel Islands and that they adhere to the spirit as well as the letter of the law when it comes to paying tax.
Big companies have big questions to answer about precisely why they need to have so many companies based in tax havens.
But tax havens are secretive places where you don't have to answer any questions. Jersey is the second most popular tax haven for UK companies. The Cayman Islands, also a British territory, comes first. In fact, 6 of the world's top 10 tax havens are controlled by the UK. Something that never seems to have embarrassed the British government into doing anything about them. Sarah Smith, Channel 4 News, Jersey.